Florida State getting screwed by the College Football Playoff Committee? And I guess here's my question. And this is something that I've struggled with for a long time, and we've talked about it openly on the show. Do rules matter? That's the question that I have. And I guess they don't, because whether you're Michigan cheating, whether you're Florida State, whether you're elections or whatever it might be, apparently when things don't go your way, the rules don't matter. Because the hardest part, and we always do it this way, we did it with Ohio State, we did it with Michigan, and now we're going to do it with Florida State. There was not a single rule broken by the College Football Playoff Committee when it comes to choosing somebody other than Florida State. It states specifically in the college football selection process, the College Football Playoff Committee has a selection process that has a specific stipulation for injured players. I don't know about you. I watched the ACC championship game on Saturday, and that was not one of the 4 best teams in the country. Jake, did Florida State get screwed by the College Football Playoff Committee?
There's not a chance that they got screwed. And I think the biggest thing right now is that Florida State fan wants to claim that they're a victim, or that somehow they got cheated or robbed, or, somehow that there was a different standard set to them versus any of the other teams that got selected. And so, over the weekend, I'm on X, on Twitter, and I'm arguing with people, and I'm having conversations. And the main thing that I think Florida State fan is griping about is the fact that you were an undefeated conference champion, and somehow that should auto bid you into the college football playoff. And I'm here to tell you, nothing auto bids you into the college football playoff. Yes, is there a common denominator that, hey, the other 3 were undefeated or one-loss conference champions? Okay, sure. But the point is that winning your conference doesn't just automatically mean you get in, but it helps your case. The thing that you can't run from is that because Jordan Travis blew up his leg, you're not one of the 4 best teams. And it seems so cut and dry to me. And maybe it's because I'm not a Seminole fan. Maybe it's because I'm not, bought into the whole Mike Norvell experience or whatever. I'm not bought into the soft-ass ACC schedule that you played all year long. Maybe that's what the difference is. But for me, I just don't think that this is that difficult. And by the way, while we're talking about the ACC, Florida State, my biggest problem with you is that you're playing both sides of the fence. Earlier this year, you wanted to blow up the ACC. You said that you weren't getting, your proper share of TV revenue, and that, this is a crap conference, and you wanted to leave. And now, because you got, you didn't get selected in the College Football Playoff Committee, you want to say, hey, guys, we played an ACC schedule. We're an undefeated conference champion. This is a great conference, a Power 5 conference. And I'm just simply sitting here saying it's a bad look to try and have it both ways. We didn't just magically forget that you wanted to leave your conference earlier in the year. We didn't just magically forget that you had disdain for your position in college football. So let's not then try to just skip over that fact. You want special treatment. The reality is you're not better than the SEC. You're not better than the Pac-12. You're not even better than the Big 12, in my opinion.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue here is you don't have a leg to stand on when it comes to, that senators writing letters on your behalf. And I'd love to understand, like, we have a U.S. Senator in Rick Scott demanding information, and I want transparency. You're a U.S. Senator. We have bigger fish to fry than the College Football Playoff. And I understand you're not happy with the outcome. There are no rules violations to be going after. Fix the issues in our country. Then maybe we can talk about your football fandom. I look at Mike Norvell's statement. I'm disgusted and infuriated with the committee's decision today to have what was earned on the field taken away because of a small group of people decided they knew better than the results of the game. Okay, that small group of people. What rule did they violate? Where's the rule that they flagrantly ignored? Because again, their job, and this is what I love about statements like this, their job was not to make sure that the undefeated team got into the college football playoff. The commission's decision today to have what was earned on the field taken away. It wasn't earned on the field. Where does it say earned on the field in the college football playoff committee? It doesn't say earned on the field. Their job was to find the 4 best teams in the country. I have heard, and it's all Florida State fans on the other side of it, I've heard very few people make the argument that this Florida State team without Jordan Travis is better than Alabama, Texas, Washington, or Michigan. Nobody with any credibility is making that argument. And I'm asking you, where is the specific rule, Florida State fan, that was broken by the College Football Playoff Committee? That we have a senator taking time away from his constituents and the business of this country to get involved in the College Football Playoff because the BCS wasn't good enough and we have to have a playoff system. Well, now you got a playoff system and you want to bitch and moan about that too. It's never good enough. It's never good enough. Michigan cheated. They don't deny it, yet somehow a rule was broken. Okay, like I'm over it. I'm so massively sick and tired of the fact that we put a rule in place, and as soon as somebody doesn't like it, they want to sue and they want to get litigious, and we've got to get a senator involved. Get out of here. Like I'm so over it. Like Mike Alford's statement, the athletic director at Florida State. The argument of whether a team is the most deserving or best is a false equivalence. It renders the season up to yesterday irrelevant. No, it actually really is not a false equivalent, Mike. It isn't. And the most delicious part of Florida State saying, hey, we got screwed and this system sucks. Isn't that the same thing you guys are saying about the ACC? When you're over here trying to blow up the grant of rights in the ACC and you're just rolling on about how you deserve better. Well, now all of a sudden the rules have been followed precisely and you deserve better. Somehow Florida State finds itself on the wrong end every single time and they deserve better. The problem is you deserve what you've earned, and you haven't earned the designation as one of the 4 best teams in the country. That's the bottom line. You're not. Without Jordan Travis, you're not better than Alabama. Without Jordan Travis, you're not better than Texas. Without Jordan Travis, you're not better than Washington and Michigan. You're simply not. And I don't know how else to spin that. I watched that game on Saturday, and I saw a Louisville team and a Florida State team play by far one of the worst conference championship performances, save Iowa's disappearing act, that I had seen in many years.
Facts.
How can, and again, I'm asking point blank because you have the hypocrite, A.D. Alford at Florida State, saying the fact that this team has continued to close out victories in dominant fashion facing our current quarterback situation should have enhanced our case to get a playoff berth earned. What dominant performance did you put in over the weekend? Because I didn't see that. And if I missed it, somebody please feel free to inform me, what dominant performance did we get out of Florida State this weekend in that mighty 16-6 performance where you threw for a grand total of what? 55 yards. You passed for a grand total of 55 yards.
Oh, but it's a dominant performance.
And you think your quarterback threw for 55 yards and you think you are one of the 4 best teams in the country.
Hey, how many yards did Texas throw for over the weekend? Because the numbers say it was 494 yards, bro. And you're over here with 55 yards, and you think that you should be in over them or Bama.
I am amazed that when we're talking about Florida State, you get comments like this. Florida State had more yards than Michigan. So you truly think, Marcus, Florida State's better than Michigan. That's what this comment says, that you think Florida State's better than Michigan. What college football have you been watching? Explain to me, in what world is Florida State by any metric better than Michigan? No, I can't think of one either. Because Florida State, I might say head to head, 100% every single player across the board. Florida State's not better with or without Jordan Travis than Michigan is.
That'd be America's team.
It's this kind of ridiculous comment that makes you understand rules just don't matter anymore. Everybody's opinion is fact. Rules don't matter anymore. I mean, it's amazing to me that you want to make the argument that Florida State's better than Michigan. You really want to make that argument? Without their two best quarterbacks, Florida State's better than Michigan. You think without their two best quarterbacks, which is what Florida State was when this announcement was made, you truly believe that Florida State's one of the four best teams in the country? Without their two top quarterbacks, with a freshman who looked like he was still in high school.
Because it's garbage.
You're going to make the argument that Florida State's one of the four best teams in the country. With Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Bama, all of them healthy. And three of those four, exclude Michigan because Free Harbaugh is not an elite quarterback in my opinion. But you look at Penix, you look at Quinn Ewers had 354 passing yards in the first half. In the first half, Quinn Ewers put up 354 yards passing. And you're trying to make the argument that you're one of the four best teams? You're trying to make the argument that Michael Penix Jr., who just beat a really good Oregon team for the second time, and you think somehow that Florida State without Jordan Travis belongs in over them?
Please.
Belongs in over Quinn Ewers in Texas? Belongs in over Jalen Milroe in Alabama, who Jalen Milroe just continues to make play after play. That Alabama defense, who I would remind you, because you want to talk about people wanting to knock down teams, because here's the other thing we do. Oh, my God, Florida State's not in. Alabama sucks. I would remind you that they just beat Georgia, the gold standard in college football for the last 2.5 years. And all of a sudden, no, Alabama sucks. Florida State should be in. In what world are you living that you think that Alabama team is going to lose to this Florida State team? I'm just curious. Because the bar is not earned on the field.
It's not undefeated. The bar's never been undefeated.
Deserving. Their job in the college football playoff committee is the four best teams, not the four best matchups, not the four best TV numbers, not the best stories. Their opinion, who are the four best teams, because those are the four best teams getting in.
Go Tide!
And they have a rule that specifically says, hey, if you have an injury, we can consider that and whether or not you're one of the four best teams. So again, Marcus, the great, tell me how Florida State's better than Michigan. Because that never happened. That in nobody's opinion did that ever happen. C Black for $20. Clearly a Florida State fan. With Jordan Travis, Florida State is the best team in the country. You don't believe that. Keon Coleman and Johnny Wilson, first-round receivers. Trey Benson, a top 3 running back. Jaheim Bell, 3 tight ends in the draft. Great O-line, best defense in the country.
Against who?
It is, first of all, and I'm all here. We've talked about verse on this show at length. I'm here for the Florida State defense. It's not Ohio State's defense. I don't believe it's Michigan's defense. And I certainly don't believe that it's Texas or Alabama's defense. I don't. And maybe you could have the argument about Texas. I was a little surprised at some of the leaks in their defense. They cleaned those up at the half. You're not Alabama's defense. You're not Michigan's defense. And I'm pretty certain you're not Ohio State's defense. Those are 3 elite defenses. Are you a very good defense? Yes. But much to Jake's point, the ACC, and again, I just ask you, Florida State fan, you're always the victim here. You're always the victim here. You're even answering with Jordan Travis. Well, the problem is, what about without Jordan Travis? Yeah, because you're not. You're not. That's my exact point. Big Blue Horses for $5. Other snub no-loss teams include Utah, Boise, Auburn, UCF, Penn State, and TCU, to name a few. Media can suck it. Want fairness? No more no human judges. But nobody liked the BCS either. Nobody liked the BCS either. Do you guys understand that it's never going to be good enough for anybody? Because we put rules in place and you still complain that, oh, this isn't good enough. We got hosed. You didn't get hosed.
It's incredible to me that you can't just say, yeah, we did go undefeated. We did win the ACC, but unfortunately the injury to Jordan Travis came at a really tough time. And that really hurts our team's value to the committee. And I understand why, hey, our defense may be really good, but our defense alone is just half of the football. If you're not going to have your offense at full bore, we're not one of the best teams. And it's because of an injury, and that's unfortunate. Like, why do you get a free pass?
And what's really unfortunate is we're not talking about how difficult this must be for Mike Norvell and his football team. We're talking about senators from Florida and the great injustice and process. How bad do you feel for Jordan Travis today? That's got to be the worst pain in the world. Your ankle feels fine. It's your humility that took a beating. That's what's painful, is those kids worked really hard, had a great season, and because of Jordan Travis's injury, they're not going to the college football playoff. And yet we're going to sit here and we're going to have Florida State, oh, we got screwed. Okay, you got screwed. Again, and Seminole fan, I ask you directly, when you say you got screwed, what process, law, rule was broken where the injustice was served against you?
But we're an undefeated conference champion. Our defense is amazing.
Okay, show me where's the paragraph that says our defense is amazing, gets you into the college football playoff? Where's the paragraph that says undefeated conference champion? Oh, that's next year when the automatic qualifiers come out. So next year what's going to be the injustice next year?
That Clemson was better than you?
This is my struggle. And I don't even think Clemson will be better than you. At some point, when do we go back to a real world where we live by results that were had by the rules? When are we going to stop defending Michigan, who won't defend itself? When are we going to say, well, hey, guys, you broke these rules? Yeah, we know, but we're going to sue anyway. And I'm telling you, it's across the board. It's across the board. It's, guys like Rick Scott and other senators buying stock on insider trading.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to talk about that. Well, but Florida State got screwed. It's elections. It's all of this stuff where we just don't follow rules anymore unless they help us. But if that rule goes against us, Florida State's got screwed, and we need our senator to talk about, we're going to subpoena and I want access, and get out of here. Like, go do, your state's got so many problems. Go handle that, man. Go handle that. Like, you're worried about the college football playoff. You're worried about NIL. You're worried about, go govern, man. Go govern. I'm so fed up with it's never good enough. When is it ever going to be good enough? At least in the comments section, at least tell me you hear my frustration on this, that it's never good enough. Somebody's always going to sue, subpoena this, subpoena that. A rule's a rule. And just like Michigan, again, just weeks ago, just like Michigan, you can't point to the process or the rule that was broken. There's no injustice. Maybe the rules just didn't break in your favor this time. And maybe you should act like the noble, professional, normal level mentality people you're not. Oh, wait, that's right. You're not. So no. You're gonna talk about, how tough you are, and you're gonna release statements. Do you guys understand how just absolutely ridiculous this statement is? For many of us today, and again, this is Michael Alford, the athletic director at Florida State. For many of us, today's decision by the committee has forever damaged the credibility of the institution that is the college football playoff. Well, then don't fucking take part. We don't ever want to see Florida State in the college football playoff community, where you're just, because there's no credibility here, much like this statement. So you're never going to take part again, right? It's forever damaged. The credibility of the college football playoff is forever damaged. You're never going to take part in this again. Is that correct? Oh, you're not doing interviews. That's right. Nobody can ask you because you're the tough guy that hides behind your statement. It's amazing. Alford continued, quote, they chose predictive competitiveness over proven performance, subjectivity over fact. They have become a committee of prognosticators. Well, sir, they're human beings, and you voted to have your representation. Go complain to NC State. Go complain to Boo Corrigan. He's the guy who had a vote here. Go complain to Boo Corrigan. Don't release statements saying that the college football playoff is forever damaged and lacks credibility. Okay, well, then I don't ever want to see you competing for it. And if you wouldn't mind, make a call to the ACC and have them return the money because you don't want that unethical money come flowing through Tallahassee, right? I mean, you don't want that. You can't have that at the State University of Florida. We can't have unethical, dirty money because, it's got no... Sure, you'll be happy to cash those checks.
Absolutely.
If you ever make it, won't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, you will. I'm so fed up with this. I'm amazed that
we've lost the ability to lose with grace. Meaning, hey, this could have been a coaching opportunity, right? This could have been a growth moment. Like you look at Norvell's statement or even Jordan Travis or whatever, like any of these guys, like this could have been an opportunity to show leadership, to say, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I am, I'm upset with the decision, but, we had an untimely injury to, one of our best players, a guy who, I thought should have been in the Heisman Trophy conversation, and he's our quarterback, and it's amazing. And, it's unfortunate that he got hurt, but he did get hurt. And because of that, we didn't put up as many points in our conference championship game as we would have liked to, but we still won the game and we still are ACC champions. So, barring an injury, we would have been in the college football playoff, but we're not. And we're going to handle that. And we're going to move on to the next opportunity that we have. Why can't we just say that? Why can't we just say, hey, look, the process clearly lays out that this committee was put in place to figure out who are the 4 best teams, and next year the 12 best teams to get in to compete for a college football national championship. And it clearly stipulates that injury can be considered in that conversation. Yet you want to sit here and say that you were robbed and an injustice was committed against you, even though you damn well know that Jordan Travis got carted off with a gruesome ankle injury. You damn well know that you way underperformed in your championship game because you didn't have Jordan Travis, and then because you didn't have Rodemaker, so you had a freshman at quarterback. So let's stop being dramatic. Let's learn how to say, hey, you know what? It didn't work out this time. That's it. It didn't work out this time. We did everything we could do. We're 13-0. We're really a conference champion. It's really unfortunate, but here at Florida State, we hold ourselves in really high regard. And we'll get after it next season.
Let's see. Ryan Willie gives us $20 to say it's the ESPN Invitational. Really, I hadn't understood that. I thought it was called the College Football Playoff. ESPN pays for the College Football Playoff, so they feel like they can dictate who's in and who's out. So I'm just curious, where's the evidence of that? This is the other thing I love. Okay, well, man, Florida State's out. We got to find UFOs. Biologics. We need them right now to prove that ESPN is colluding with the College Football Playoff.
Human or non-human?
Where's the evidence? Oh, the Kirk Herbstreit picture. Oh, wow. Yeah, here it is. Here it is with, Michigan and Washington and Texas and Alabama. Never mind, that could be a coincidence. But let me ask you this. Do you really think that ESPN didn't know what the outcome of that was before their broadcast? The one that you say they pay so much money for. Do you think they're just they have a bunch of like elves on the shelf who can just make graphics right away? No doubt about it. No, of course they knew. It's a pre-produced broadcast where the committee votes and ESPN announces the vote on their broadcast, which they pay for. So just because ESPN knew ahead of time, of course they did. Do you really think they're in collusion? Just so I'm clear, because you paid $20 for this ridiculousness. Your opinion is They feel like they can dictate who's in and out. And I don't care if FSU got screwed or not. If you're not in the SEC or the Big Ten, you're going to get screwed. So then what do you say to Texas and Washington? Because if it was just the SEC and the Big Ten, wouldn't we have had Georgia and Alabama and then Ohio State and Michigan?
Yeah.
Oh, that's not the college football. Now I could be wrong. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty certain that's not the college football playoff bracket.
And I think the other thing that's so funny about this Herb Street thing is this is the same guy, and we played him multiple times last week on the showroom. This is the same guy who goes on this podcast last week talking about how he wants the process to be proper. He wants the 4 best teams. He doesn't want to be nice. He doesn't want to have any type of bias.
No.
I want the 4 best teams that give us the absolute best product on the field. And I truly believe that is what we got this weekend with what was chosen.
So as a guy who calls these games, I don't want to do the right thing. If you talk to Bill Hancock, and we had lots of meetings about this, they're not supposed to do the right thing. They're supposed to, their job is put the best 4 teams in the playoff. Now, again, it's subjective. Who you think and I think are the best 4 are different, and that's fine. But that's what that group is supposed to do. Not what do we think about ratings? That's bullshit. Put the fucking best 4 teams in the game.
Period.
He says it himself. So when your AD comes out here and puts out a statement talking about how it lacks all credibility and it's subjective, you're damn right it's subjective. That's the task they were given. The task they were given was the 4 best teams, not the right thing, which would have been, oh yeah. So we've got Bama, the SEC champion, Michigan, the Big Ten champion, right? We've got Florida State, the ACC champion, and of course we got Texas. But what about Washington? They're champion. Well, there's not 5 spots, but there were 5 conferences. So what do you say now? This is my point. Your complaint is literally making the point. It's a subjective process. Your quarterback, both 1 and 2, are both out. Number 2 was questionable, come back and wound up not playing because he got whacked in the head. So that's why I say, what are we doing?
I'm just, again, it's what I've said. No rules or process were broken, and your statements point exactly to the fact that the College Football Playoff Committee did precisely what they were charged with doing. Sitting around a table and choosing the 4 best teams in the country by their own opinion.
Hey, dude, if Florida State was a 12-1 conference champion and you were 100% healthy, right? You had Jordan Travis, had the receivers, had everybody, 100%. You were 12-1, and you got snubbed for another 13-0 team, a 13-0 Pac-12 champion instead of you. You'd have been saying, oh, you didn't do the right thing. We're better than them. Well, how can you say that? You're 12-1, not 13-0. So you just want it both ways. And actually, what we should be saying is you want it any way that favors you. And you're going to stop at nothing until you get some type of answer.
And the best part about the comments about how ESPN's colluding with the college football playoff, if they were colluding, would they not stick it to the Pac-12? I mean, they're partners. They're partners literally by contract. ESPN is partnered with the ACC. You understand that, right? They're under contract to broadcast ACC games.
Yeah.
Wouldn't they want Florida State in if they were colluding? They're not under contract with the Big Ten. They're not under contract with the Pac-12. Wouldn't they want, hey, let's make sure the SEC gets 2, and let's make sure that Florida State gets in, guys. Okay, well, whoever else you want to pick, go ahead. Just remember, collusion, we say they get in. They would put what? Like, what are you talking about? Like, do you think through the stuff that you say? Open the garage door before you turn
Sometimes
the car
I think
on.
I just say shit. Sample what comes out of my mouth.
Okay, couple more. Let's see how bad it gets. Net neutrality.
Oh.
Remember the last time we put an iffy, underrated FSU team in the playoff? Can't fool us twice, FSU. It doesn't even matter at that point. It's not the last time. It is today.
Which is what I think Florida State fan especially doesn't want to talk about. I'm with you. If you want to say, hey, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, a month ago, We were one of the best teams in the country. Now, that's never been my opinion. I always thought you played a soft schedule, always thought you underperformed, thought you barely scraped by a mediocre-ass Clemson team. But that's just my opinion, right? Maybe I'm wrong. So let's just assume when you were 100% healthy, you were a college football playoff caliber team. We have to get back to being able to say, yeah, you know what? This time it just didn't work out. But our players gave their damnedest. And when I look at Norvell's statement, he talks about how, hey, our players, they busted their ass out there. And, do you tell players it's okay to quit? Well, no, Mike, we don't tell people it's okay to quit. We don't tell people that, it's not worth it to play the game. It is worth it to play the game. And in fact, that's why you're not in the college football playoff. You got hurt trying to get there. And sometimes that's part of it. We don't complain about like other leagues where injuries happen. Dude, we're not complaining tonight when you have a backup starting for the Bengals. We're not complaining about that. It's the NFL.
It's football.
That's what happens.
And football hurts.
Yeah.
Football hurts. Lopes fan Gabe, at least with the BCS, we were left debating the 2 best teams. Now we're debating who are the 4 best teams. What are we doing here? Well, I think it's excellent for college football. That's what we're doing, right? And what's going to happen next year? What's going to happen next year when it's a 5-7 mile and we got to debate the 7 best teams left in the country? Do you think this gets better or worse? Or I'm telling you, it doesn't get better. It does not get better.
For all these people saying, well, why don't they just adopt the NFL model? Go to the NFL model where everything's decided on the field and we don't have human beings with all their bias and, subjectivity. That's the catchphrase now. There's subjectivity in these decisions. Yeah, you know what the problem with that is? The NFL doesn't have to worry about P4 or G5. There are way too many teams in college football to adopt the NFL model.
Yeah.
So we're not going to do that. And as far as this speech going around, the internet all weekend about how Mike Leach is talking about how he would have had a 64 team, football playoff and all this junk. You're not doing a 64 round March Madness football tournament. You're not doing that. That's just, it takes way too much time. We can't play, 3 football games a week for the same team. That doesn't work.
I'm telling you, the system's not rigged and it works just fine. It works. All this is people in power don't like being told no. And so if there's a rule in place that tells them no, they're just going to try and flip that rule.
By the way, do you hear Georgia?
Plain and simple.
Do you hear Georgia doing what you guys are doing? Georgia's not complaining. Now, did Kirby make his case after the game? Well, sure, because of course that's your responsibility as a head coach to make the best case you can.
But the Georgia senators aren't subpoenaing people.
Yeah, you're not getting your AD sending all these scathing letters and like, dude, just stop. Just stop, bro.
C Black for $5. Y'all really need to go look at the NFL mock drafts this year. To think Michigan, Texas, or Alabama is more talented. Whoever said they were more talented? I never said they were more talented. What did I say? I said they were a better team than you. Alabama's defense is better than Florida State's defense. Michigan and Ohio State and Texas is a better football team than Florida State.
Yes.
It's that simple. Xavier Worthy's injury is a big deal. It's a big deal, man. And I'm just telling JT Sanders stepped right up, picked up the receiving yards, targets, blocked like I'm just going to ask, have you guys ever heard of Ollie Gordon? Because
Who's that?
I didn't see him Saturday. Oh, he was there. He was there, but he got his ass handed to him by the best defensive line he's seen and might be one of the best defensive lines in the country.
That's right. When you're in the first quarter and you're on the sidelines yelling at the top of your throat to, Texas can go F itself or F Texas, and then you get popped multiple times in the game. Yeah, probably shouldn't be running your mouth against Texas. And I'm just telling you guys, dude, Texas is one of those brands that everyone hates. It's just as Michigan is. I think nobody gives a damn about Washington. Nobody knows Washington. They don't know how good that arm is on Michael Penix. But what I'm telling you is that this situation with Florida State needs to stop. It needs to stop. And we need to get some coaching lessons in how to handle this with grace, because we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, totally agree. We do not lose gracefully anymore at all. UW fan Jim says, if it's just the best 4, why no Geo? Go Real Dogs. What do you mean? Why no Geo? Why would there? So you're killing me. Logan for $2. You're missing the obvious. Florida State is America's team. They are.
Oh.
I mean, you know,
That'd be America's team.
Forget the Wolverines. It's the Seminoles for sure.
Doesn't get any more red, white, and blue than that.
Ryan Willie for $5. Did you see Harbaugh crap himself after he found out they play Bama in the college football playoff? Well, they are just glad they didn't have to play Florida State.
Because I know Florida State's the best team in the country.
I did see that the entire room was like, oh.
Via social media.
And then there was like, oh, wait, we need to clap. Oh, we're excited. Okay, who's got Connor's number? Let's get him going.
Sign stealer guy.
It's amazing. They clearly had pain. Hellabilly for $2. The only team screwed by dumb rules is JMU.
Mhm.
Totally agree. C Black for $10 more. You guys need to learn the facts. Jake,
Oh.
if you could learn the facts.
Please learn me,
Jake,
please.
Yes. This narrative started before Travis got hurt with Kirk. Go look at the game day the morning before the injury. Nobody cares about before Jordan Travis got hurt.
And what narrative are you talking about, dude?
Stop playing the victim. The rule is the rule. And again, see, Black, I just ask you directly. There's a stipulation in the selection process that says if you have injured players, we're allowed to consider that. So what rules were broken? And again, if you're going to hang your hat on the subjectivity post, I would remind you, your guy was involved in picking human beings. The ACC is one of the most powerful conferences in the country and has a significant hand, including Boo Corrigan, sitting on the selection committee. So what process screwed Florida State? None. And there is no narrative that's been going on for months to keep Florida State out. If Florida State with Jordan Travis had been undefeated and he was healthy today, you'd be in the college football playoff.
Oh, that's right. But he's not healthy, so you're not.
My guess is Texas would be on the outside looking in.
And then we would be getting letters from Longhorn country.
We would.
Actually, we probably wouldn't because they're going to the SEC, and this year was just a cherry on top anyway.
Yeah, I'm amazed by it. I am. Ryan Willie, Washington heading to the Big Ten and Texas to the SEC.
Yep.
So you paid $5 for that.
Yay!
Harry Austin, a member for 6 months. Thank you, Harry.
Oh, okay.
You're ignoring that Texas to the SEC and Washington to the Big Ten. So that is why your argument fails on this. Hey, it's the Pac-12. No, it actually doesn't. So wait, let me get this right. The Big 12, who's in business with ESPN contract. Well, wait, but they would want to.
Yeah.
Why would you? So what destroys my narrative? Again, I would say Washington to the Big Ten. What time slot in Big Ten football games is on ESPN or ABC? Exactly none. So when they want to keep Washington out, because, well, Washington is just a Pac-10. I mean, when you want to keep Washington out, ESPN, because they're colluding with the college football playoff, which they're not. Why would they want to help Washington get in? They're not in business with the Pac-12 now. And they're only helping the Pac-12 in the future, who they're not in business with either. The Pac-2, the Mountain Pac West, whatever it's going to be. They're not.
You are what you are.
They're not in business with them. And if you heard the post game where all the Texas fans were chanting SEC, are you really trying to make sure that Texas gets in? I mean, how does that undo my argument? If you were truly trying to help yourself and collude with the college football playoff, I think in any scenario, whether they deserved it or not, you'd have Texas in. The one you'd be arguing about is Washington. You'd be trying to keep Washington out. Washington not only got in, they're the number 2 seed. They're the number 2 seed out of the Pac-12. You're crazy why would ESPN, who's got contracts with everybody but the Big Ten, why would they want Florida State out and Washington in? Why on earth would ESPN want Florida State out? the argument that you're fighting for TV ratings. So what you're saying, Florida State, is you recognize you don't draw the TV ratings that the other four do. Oh, it's subjectivity so that they can sell ads. Florida State, you're saying you don't sell ads.
That's bullshit.
And you're saying that you don't bring fans to the TV.
No.
I'm not saying that. Well, actually, isn't that what you said? Because
I'm not talking about that.
You're saying that Texas is a better football brand than you are, and Alabama is a better football brand than you are, because that's why ESPN, that's the only thing that makes sense. Bob Iger's a lot of things. He ain't stupid, so he'd be colluding with to make sure to keep Florida State out. Oh, because nobody watches
what are you talking about, man?
your games, and you're a small brand? What are you talking about? They would be trying to help you, not hurt
Bro,
you.
you guys are spending so much time justifying why FSU should be in. We're missing the point here, bro.
Very much.
Bro, who's the number 1 seed? America's team. The Michigan Wolverines have found their way through.
Yep.
How is nobody talking about this? How is nobody talking about the coaching job done by Nick Saban this year? This guy's in the college football playoff and had to beat Georgia to do it, and you want to come bark up my tree about an average-ass Florida State team? We're distracted. We're just simply distracted. We're missing the most important conversations in the college football playoff because we have victimhood over here in Tallahassee.
Yeah, totally agree. It's remarkable to me. Let's see. Matt Ritson for $2. Which commissioner, WITCH, was booed after games by the fans? Well, it was Brett Yormark. Was that just you didn't know the answer to that, or
who? I have to say, when I was watching that, that's the first time I've ever seen Brett just a little bit rattled.
He was shook. There's no doubt.
He was rattled.
He was shook. There's no doubt about that. MJ Bissett, only conference champions, you can do it.
No, dude, that's next year.
Yeah, that's not this year. Next year.
So what do you mean?
Duck season for $2. Penix fumbled the ball. Pac-12 refs can rest in peace. Well, the problem for you is Washington was the better team. Washington is the better team. Bo Nix played one of the worst games of the season, and Michael Penix did not. You got beat by a better team.
And I did not think that was a fumble.
And Dan Lanning should be apologizing and refunding season ticket deposits because he beat you 2 games in a row against Washington. I think he was terrible again. I think the play calling was terrible again. I think your defense was out of position on several critical situations. And I think that you should probably, and again, this is just my opinion.
Lil Monty over here.
You should probably learn how to run the ball against Washington's front seven because you got physically dominated up front.
Stay hard.
It had nothing to do with a fumble that wasn't a fumble, even though, again, you're going to say you got screwed by the refs because it couldn't possibly be Washington was a better team. And they beat you twice in a row.
Have a nice day.
Because they were the better team. Pretty cut and dry. UW fan Jim, if Duck cries in the rain, does anyone care? They don't. They don't. Tarrant County, Pete. Hey, Pete.
Oh, God.
FSU is this year's Cincinnati.
Oh, God.
The committee has learned their lesson on perfect records against lesser competition.
On to Cincinnati.
But again, I don't think this has anything to do with their competition. It is very clear when you have a true freshman who looked terrified, speaking of pissing himself, he looked terrified, and you couldn't throw the ball 55 yards.
How?
You're not one of the 4 best teams in the country.
But wait, you have all your running backs, right? Because this is the defense. Hey, we've got our defense, and we've got our Keon Coleman's and our Johnny Travis, and we've got our running backs. But you only put up, what was it, 16 points? And threw for 55
to 6 in one of the worst games I've ever watched at a championship level.
So if you were such a complete team and such a dominant team, as I believe your AD said, we had a dominant performance in the ACC championship game.
Johnny Wilson, 2 catches, 21 yards.
Jesus, that is the most dominating thing I've never seen.
Keon Coleman, 4 for 19 yards. And so I'm just going to be redundant again. If Jordan Travis was healthy and you won this game, my guess is you probably would have scored twice as many points.
Yeah, you're probably 35 points in this game.
and you'd be in the college football playoff.
Yes.
That simple. It has nothing to do with people hating Florida State, even though they do.
Nothing to do with Cincinnati or ESPN colluding.
Just saying. You can't, when you look at Florida State, and here's something else that Florida State fan on Twitter did not want to talk about yesterday. What's the big win for you? Well, non-con, it's LSU. Okay, LSU, the amazing LSU Tigers, who were a 3-loss team this year. That doesn't help you, right? So then it's Southern Miss, Clemson on the road, decent, not great win. Clemson was a 4-loss team. Syracuse, Duke was a 5-loss team. Wake, Pitt, Miami, directional Alabama, Florida, who you struggled to beat. And again, I would remind you that Florida, Urban, they're not coming through that door anytime soon. I mean, not to be the bearer of bad news, they're a 7-loss team. And you almost became their not 7th, like the 6-6.
By the way,
bowl win.
If you're such a great team, even though you looked awful against Florida, but if you're such a great team, prove it. Georgia's coming. You're meeting Georgia in Florida, right? Hard Rock Stadium, Miami. Show me that you can lose by less than 20 to that team, because I'm telling you that ain't happening. That team's putting 40 on you. I am confident in that. You think that team's just going to roll in there and be like, yeah, man, we got Sabinated, so season's over. You think they're not looking to prove a point? Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yep. Tom Dean, Sagarin computer strength of schedule, Texas 4, Washington 5, Bama 12, Michigan 56, Florida State 61. Yeah. Get the computers out.
Great, dude. Cool. We don't use computers anymore. Get over it. We don't use computers anymore. We have a college football playoff committee that is subjective and is tasked with getting the 4 best teams. And by the way, that argument doesn't hold up for Florida State, because Florida State's 55th in the nation for strength of schedule. So that doesn't exactly work for you.
This comes down to human beings made a decision that you don't like. That's what it is. Dakota Tubbs, Eli Drinkwitz, who I thought really embarrassed himself. I thought after the season that Missouri had, I feel like he humiliated himself. I truly, truly do. Has Connor Stallions on speed dial. He made a joke about, I just think it's embarrassing, dude. That was not Missouri's finest moment. You're going to play Ohio State, so you're going to take a jab at Michigan. I don't know that. Maybe I don't have a sense of humor.
Yeah, I don't think. I don't know. I could be wrong. I didn't get the sense he was even trying to take a jab at Michigan with it.
Oh, please.
I think what he was doing is he was merely pointing out that, hey, we're playing Ohio State. Let me make
Connor
a joke
Stallions
about it.
calling. I have to go.
Yeah, he was making a joke about, hey, we're playing Ohio State, and he was joking about the whole situation.
I thought it was in bad form. I thought it was in bad form. Again,
I mean, there haven't been, to your point, there haven't been a lot of other coaches that have brought up
because you don't talk about it.
Even the name Connor Stallions.
Because nobody's perfect. Nobody's clean. Eli, what skeletons are in your closet? Like you just don't do that. I thought it was in bad form. But again, I have no sense of humor and I'm old, remember? And I'm supposedly Mormon. I'm not.
You don't always have to be negative.
And I'm going to die soon. Don't forget that part too. Appreciate you. If FSU wants to blame your commissioner. He was one of 3 that voted to start the 12-team playoff next year. You could add a 12-team playoff this year, by the way. And the ACC voted against it. So FSU will get 0 credit for beating an unmotivated Georgia team in the bowl, MJ Bissett says. Well,
I got news. I don't think they're unmotivated, my man.
I don't think Georgia's unmotivated at all. I could be wrong. Midnight Magic Musings, a member for 6 months on the show.
Let's go, baby.
When can we talk Liberty Bowl?
Why are we talking? Why, dude?
I actually
that's
think
not gonna happen.
some of the Liberty or some of the bowl matchups this year have been very good. And I would appreciate it if you would call it the AutoZone Liberty Bowl with Memphis and Iowa State. I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I just saw the AutoZone banner. You know, it is what it is, right? Eric Wasikowski from
Wasikowski.
He's from Plymouth Canton.
Yeah.
The Jets versus Falcons was more entertaining. Let's not get carried away.
Hey, we're focused on the Jets today.
Let's not get carried away. Did you guys hear that Zachy Poo is begging the Jets to let him get another shot at quarterback? Begging.
Yes.
You can beg, my man, but I don't think they're going to give you a shot. I don't. I mean, the only shot you should probably be after is from BuckedUp, the official energy provider of the Monty Show. BuckedUp Energy, the official energy product you guys know by now, is Buckshot. And our fine friends at BuckedUp also gave us an extension on the sample. We've given so many people 6 free samples of Buckshot, which, you know, elite ingredients, 200 milligrams of naturally sourced caffeine. So it's not chemicals that create a reaction similar to caffeine, which you can find in many other energy shots. No. 200 milligrams naturally sourced caffeine with a bunch of brain food that gives you a nice little rise mentally so you can get through that last pivot table on your Excel spreadsheet, that last big presentation, the sales meeting. You got to go pick the kids up, and maybe you're a little short on patience today. Hit a Buckshot 20 minutes before you pick the kids up. You're going to feel great. You're going to do great. Buckshot is designed so that you can have your best day every day. You know, usually 20 minutes ago, but you know, every day at this time on the show, we pop one to finish strong. Yeah, BuckedUp Energy, the presenting sponsor of the Bare Knuckle Fighting Championship over this past weekend. That takes some balls.
I don't have those balls.
Did you guys see some of the visuals out of the BKFC, it's called?
And I'll drop that motherfucker.
Put on some gloves. That is that is amazing. But get in the description below. Get your 6 free Buckshots. They'll send them right to your front door for free. Hook it up, buckedup.com. Use the promo code Monty.